Hi everybody, welcome back. Well, we all know that your heart is obviously important. It's critical to life, to good health. But do you know that between the age of say 45 and 55, 60, your heart goes through some changes that make it stiff? What do we mean by that? Stiffness of the heart muscle happens because a couple of things. One is the proteins in our heart muscle start to change. We lose elastin, and as its name suggests, elastin gives our muscle its elasticity. And we gain collagen. You're probably familiar with collagen because if we lose collagen from our skin, it goes all floppy and loose. Collagen adds stiffness. So if we're losing elastin and we're gaining collagen, our heart muscle, this connective tissue between the cells, makes our heart get kind of stiffer. That means it's kind of got to work harder to get the same result. Now, the other thing that happens is that the cell walls of the heart muscle, the cells of the heart muscle, get thicker. That makes it kind of stiffer as well. So with this increased stiffness comes a few issues. When the heart relaxes, what we call its diastolic phase, you probably, with your blood pressure, you're probably familiar with systolic and diastolic. So in the diastolic phase, the heart muscle is relaxing. And in that phase is when the heart fills up with blood, ready for the systolic phase when it contracts and pushes the blood out into our blood system. So we have this diastolic and systolic blood pressure that it creates in our blood vessels, which your doctor measures and is an indication of obviously good health. So in that diastolic phase, if the heart is stiffer, it doesn't relax as well as it used to, so it doesn't fill up with blood, as much blood, ready to kind of pump that blood back into the system. So we've got a problem where we're not taking in as much, we're not getting as much value from the oxygen that we've taken in, we're not getting it into our system, and that can start to cause issues. So is there any way of reversing this degrading stiffness that occurs to our heart muscle? Remembering that your heart starts beating before your brain forms, and your heart can go on beating even when the brain is dead. That's why these days your death is really, it sounds a bit morbid, doesn't it? But you're pronounced dead because your brain stops functioning, not because your heart can be deceptive. Sure, if your heart does stop, well, your brain's not going to last much longer. But funnily enough, your brain can stop, but your heart can keep going because it's kind of its own independent entity. So heart health is crucial for everything going on in your body because it's the major organ that's delivering that oxygenated blood to your system. So you need a healthy heart at all stages of your life. But we've got aging working against us. So what does the research suggest we can do about that? Interesting, there's Dr. Benjamin Levine, a great researcher, looking at this question. So they took older subjects and looked at them over a year. Could they change this progressive stiffening of the heart? Well, for 12 months, they gave them consistent exercise because I thought this is the way to do it. We introduce exercise, consistent exercise, and we get them to do it for a year, and let's look at our results. Disappointing. After a year, the hearts weren't looking any better. And they were almost about to give up the research. But then Dr. Levine said, well, maybe we didn't push them long enough. We didn't push them hard enough. So another study, 2-year study this time, more consistent, more regular, and harder exercise. celebrations at the end of the study because they had reversed this stiffening of the heart. So you've got this aging heart, you've got this increasing stiffness, so you've got to improve it by doing exercise, but the exercise needs to be consistent. We mean weekly. Now, we also need to be frequent. Now, people say, oh, it's the same thing, is it? No, it's not. So you could be consistent doing it once a year, every year. That's consistent. But it needs to be frequent, consistent and frequent. What do we mean by that? At least 3 to 4 times a week. And it needs to be significant. That is, it needs to tax you. It needs to require effort. You know, sometimes I like walking. As you know, I've said in the past, walking is a fantastic exercise for all sorts of things, your heart and your brain. And remember, whatever's good for your heart is good for your brain. Whatever's good for your brain is good for your heart. But walking needs to be at a level that at least zone 2. What does zone 2 mean? It means that you're exercising at a level where you can just carry on a conversation. That is, you can converse, but you couldn't sing a song, say. So it needs to be significant. And I see people, you know, they say, oh yeah, I go walking, I walk my dog, you know, and I see when people do when they walk their dog, the dog stops, it's sniffing a tree and they're looking up at the sky, and yeah, it's all very lovely. And look, movement is great. If you're walking your dog and you're moving, great. That's a start. Any movement is good. But if you want to improve the system, heart and brain, you've got to be doing significant exercise, at least that zone 2 cardio. And by significant exercise, you need to look at both that VO2 max, that aerobic type of exercise, and doing some significant resistance work. That could be Pilates, it could be weights in the gym, it could be resistance band, it could be strength yoga, it could be any stuff like that that works deliberately on improving strength is got to be really good for you. And I would be doing that at least twice a week, but I'd be doing your aerobic stuff at least 3 times a week. And significant, push yourself. So if you want to decrease the probability of getting heart stiffness and the problems that will eventually result in, then you've got to be exercising. And if you're already aging, if you're like me, I'm 65, if you're 65 and over, it looks like we can reverse that stiffening that has been happening naturally anyway by consistent, frequent, significant exercise over a couple of years and then for the rest of your life. So get out there, start doing it, because your life is going to be better for it, your brain's going to be better for it, your heart's going to be better for it, your life is going to be better for it. So I hope this challenge gets you out there and doing something. Catch you later. By the way, great book in the description, Outlive by Peter Attia. Highly recommend it. Grab it from the link below and you'll find that the information that you get and the impetus, the motivation will be great. Catch you later.